An online fundraiser established by friends of the Guerrero family has raised $150,000 by Tuesday afternoon, that's a day after he was shot, to help cover legal expenses, funeral costs, and the repatriation of his body to Colombia, where his parents are waiting to lay him to rest. These people, they're so happy to pay for someone to go back to their country they came from when they're dead, but not when they're still alive. But he would still be alive if he was sent back there when he came over, illegally, in 2023. Instead, he filed for asylum, the magical, ridiculous thing that our country has, and other countries have it too, which allows people to break all sense of logic and reason by saying, oh no, they're coming to get me. I need to have asylum in your country or else something bad will happen to me. And then we say, oh, that sucks. Who's coming to get you? And they say, the guys, just let me stay in the USA. All right. That's all that matters. And, well, that is all that matters. It would seem they stay in the USA with asylee status. Even without it, actually, you just need a pending open file for it and you're allowed to stay in the USA. Even wackier is that you're allowed to stay in the USA and work if your status has been pending for half a year, 180 days. That's according to, I don't know anything about the law, but that's according to Greg Chen, a senior director of government relations with the American Association of Immigration Lawyers, which we just have like legions of people who are set up dedicated to get tons of immigrants into our country. Like there's literal machines built in order to create this highway that, I don't even know if it's a highway. It's like a downstream river. Like all rivers flow to America, but not really in the good way. It's not like all roads lead to Rome. This is like, it's like we don't even get a say in the matter. We have these teams of lawyers set up to bring in immigrants. And according to Greg Chen, even if you have an application that's been pending, only pending, not approved, just pending for 180 days, you're eligible to work in the USA, which that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I believe it. I do believe that's the truth, but I don't believe that that's how it should be. He says, if you have an application for asylum pending, you can legally remain in the United States. The fact is, you have protection from deportation and the legal right to remain in the United States while your case is pending. You know what? I believe that's the fact. I do. And not just because he's the senior director of government relations to the American Association of Immigration Lawyers, which is a stupidly long title, but because our systems are so stupid. And a lot of other systems in white countries are stupid too. These are so stupid. This asylum thing, it's so stupid that I do believe that. You can make it sound as dumb as you possibly can. I'll believe you. I won't even look. I won't research it. I'll just believe you right then and there. You say the dumbest thing possible, and I'll believe that's the way it's set up. Yeah. You just come over to the USA illegally, then you file for asylee status, and then you're allowed to stay and get a work permit, even if it's not, even if it's not approved. This is allowed, and then. 3 years later, I guess he immediately knocked up some woman because he came here in 2023. It's now 2026, and he has a 3-year-old daughter and a wife. So he came over to the USA. You know what? I'm gonna double back to that. So he came over to the USA illegally, filed for asylee status. Then when he dies, he's sent back to Colombia where his parents are waiting to get his body. So it wasn't really asylum, was it? Were his parents in danger? Was his family in danger? Why? What was happening in Colombia that required him to flee to the USA? I'm just thinking it's BS. Really, is what I'm thinking. You know what I think? Because at the top of this story, his father said something. His father, Omar Duran, described him as a good person, raised with strong values, and said he had a great vision for getting ahead with so many dreams to fulfill. Oh yes, he did have a great vision for getting ahead. Step 1. Illegally immigrate into the strongest and most powerful and most luxurious and opulent country into the world. Step 2, abuse all of the ridiculous loopholes that country has. Step 3, have sex with some random woman literally the day you get into the country and impregnate her. At least that's what I'm assuming has happened. I mean, like, he has a 3-year-old daughter. He came in 3 years later and he has a wife. I mean, yeah, maybe he knows her from Colombia. I don't know. But that's just my assumption, is that he got a wife and a child, literally, like, basically he came to America illegally. Then he said, yes, I'll have one American dream, please. And Biden said, okay, here's your wife. She'll get pregnant, and here's where you live, and here's your car, and here's your work permit, and there you go. I mean, like, I know that's not exactly what happened, but that's what it feels like. That's what all of this constantly feels like. And that's really what matters, how the citizens feel. It doesn't need to be like literally what happened. It's how people feel. And that's what I feel. Worse yet is the way that other people are looking at it. His father sitting here, he's a good person raised with strong values, right? How many times have I turned on the news and seen some woman, some mother BSing about how her child was the light of her life and the light of every room for that matter, and just every single person smiling whenever he was in the room and everyone loved him and he was a great person. And how did he die exactly? Oh, well, he was a drug dealer and he got in a shootout with the police. Oh, yeah, good person raised with strong values. You know what? I'm not saying that he was a murderer or anything like that. This guy, I've been calling him Maine because here they calling him Joan Sebastian Guerrero. Other times they call him Durin. Other times they call him Johan. Like I've seen his name written in 10 different ways, so I've just been calling him Maine. But I'm not saying this guy's a murderer or anything. But again, you've illegally entered another country to use loopholes to your advantage. I don't really consider you a great person. You know, maybe he wasn't a villain, but he wasn't a good person, was he? And so how did he die? How did Joan Sebastian Durian Johann, however many Guerrero, however many names that this guy has, how did he die? Well, miraculously, ICE has somehow managed to find 2 immigrants who were not their intended targets in totally different states within the span of a week. And both of them shot to death in a car. I don't even know how that's possible unless someone is deliberately feeding ICE misinformation. And I did, like, my first thought upon hearing this is, oh, that's weird. ICE accidentally found another illegal immigrant, which they weren't even searching for. Oh, well, maybe this guy would have been alive if he hadn't have been in the country illegally. Oh, well, that's weird that our legislation that allows people to use all these loopholes. And eventually, after a certain amount of O's, I got to the point where I was thinking, you know how there's a lot of these kids who suddenly went missing, and the paper trail for them, you look at the address, and it's like, okay, they went to this house. All right, well, let's go to that house and make sure the kid's okay. Oh, that house turns out to be a parking lot of a strip club. Okay, so they were just falsifying where people were being sent to in order to get them pumped through the system quicker, right? Well, how do you have these 2 different men, both of which shot to death by ICE, both of which ICE is out looking for people, and they think that's them, and then it turns out it's not them, but they are actually an illegal immigrant? How is that possible unless someone is, like, luring ICE to specific spots on purpose? Or maybe, I don't know, is it really just a pure coincidence, or is someone setting something up here? Like, I don't know. I mean, at the very least, you have to say, wow, America sure does have a lot of illegal immigrants for ICE to just accidentally find random people that they're not even looking for when they're actually looking for somebody else. I mean, something's got to be going on here, right? Like, it has to be something a little bit more than just pure coincidence. They say here they've been conducting targeted surveillance on the last known address of an illegal alien with a final order of removal. And then this Mr. Guerrero guy appears to just be a different person. I guess they thought it was him, but it wasn't. And then, you know, there's claims that he tried to run them over and they shot him. It's the same claim as always. And I am inclined to believe when people say that because 1, you're an illegal immigrant, and 2, ICE is trying to deport you. You came here illegally of your own volition, so of course you're not going to want to be deported. So, you know, they're in a car. It weighs thousands of pounds. It can go very fast. That's a dangerous thing. I don't really believe ICE's explanation here and that they shot him in order to protect the public. Like, you're not thinking ahead in a situation like that. You're thinking about the here and now. So I'm not believing them when they say that they shot him to protect the public, but I am inclined to believe that there's something going on in these scenarios. Like, I've watched a lot of cop body cams, a lot, and people will get arrested over nothing. And I'm talking citizens. You'll have some woman getting kicked off Spirit Airlines, rest in peace, because she's dressed like a hooker, and Spirit Airlines doesn't want her on their flight. And then she gets pulled up by the police, and they're like, "Well, no. You're not allowed to wear that on there. They're sending you off their plane." And she throws a bitch fit. Well, guess what? Now you're arrested. You weren't being arrested. You were just getting kicked off the flight. Now you're being arrested. You'll have some woman in a grocery store, some clothing store, whatever, ironically. And, I mean, obviously she's probably not buying actual clothing, but she'll demand a discount. I have to have my discount. I've got this discount. And they refuse to give her the discount. They tell her to leave. She won't leave. They trespass her. Cops show up. Guess what? Now you're getting arrested. You had every opportunity. Even the cops give them opportunities. Someone won't pay at a bar. They refuse to pay their tab at a bar, and the bar says, "Look, just leave. You're $300 you owe us, but just leave. We don't want to deal with any of this BS. Just leave." They refuse. Cops get called. Well, now you're getting arrested. Even then, the cops will beg them. They don't want to put some jackass, some drunk idiot, some woman in the back of their car who's going to pee all over the seat on purpose just to make them angry. They don't want to do all the paperwork. They don't want to deal with all that. The cops are begging them to just leave. You've been trespassed, just leave. Please leave. Please stop acting like a child and leave. They refuse to. That people do it all the time. They make bad situations, not even bad situations. They're not being arrested. They're not even being arrested. They're not going to get any charges. They're just being asked to leave a place. That's it. And they refuse to do it, and so they get arrested. They get a criminal record over that. All the time people do this. And we have turned our country into this, really, it's a clown show. It's a circus. People don't fear anything anymore. I mean, they'll just murder you in broad daylight for saying the wrong word. That's not even a joke. I mean, we all know it's not a joke. You've turned on the news before. We don't punish people for anything. And none of these people being arrested in these examples I've given, nothing happens to them. Most of the time, they don't even have to pay bond. They just get out on free. It's whatever. No charges. They get arrested. The cops have to go through this whole ridiculous thing where they're basically the babysitters of the country. Everything's institutionalized. And then they get out without even a slap on the wrist. Nothing. The only thing that's happened to them is they've been arrested and let go. That's it. And you see the rest of the world, our own people look at us this way. The rest of the world, they look at us like that as well. The USA is just it's a utopia. It's a paradise. It's the Garden of Eden. You just go there and take what you want. A smorgasbord, a buffet. It's just free. It's free loot, basically. It's just free money. Just take it. Take it from the money tree. That's the way people seem to look at it. You just come to the USA illegally, and our own people are willing to help you get this. They are willing to do everything they can. They set up these insane immigrant lawyer firms and activist firms and stuff that they exist. These machines exist specifically to help people get into the country and stay into the country. And I hate it. I hate it, and I hate the people doing it. And Tom Homan, the border czar now, he's saying that there is going to be cameras, the body cameras, which I'm happy for. One, because I do think body cams, they do help you stay in line, and that's what everyone kind of needs. Like, that's what these organizations need. They need oversight. All of them do. And people in general do. Like, my life would be so much better if I had someone cracking a whip at my back telling me to stop procrastinating, stop gooning, do something meaningful with your life. Come on, snap to it. But we need that. People need that. But instead, they're all kind of left up to their own devices, and people are their own worst enemy. And when you have things like cops and ICE or whatever, yeah, a body cam keeps them accountable, and that keeps them acting on their best behavior. And that makes everything better. That builds a higher trust society. Now, ideally, you wouldn't need that, because ideally you would have people acting good and right to begin with, but a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people are scavenger tier humans. They need rules and regulations, or else they'll be bad people. Like, without the rules, without the law and order, without punishment, real punishment, which our current government doesn't really apply to most people, without real punishment, the scavenger tier humans, they're thieves and murderers. You have to hold them accountable for things. And I think you can more or less say the same about any kind of organization. You need people to have some sort of oversight, and I'm happy to see the body cams coming to it, because it will keep people on the up and up, and it will make everything cleaner and better. And that's what I want ICE to be. I want ICE to be, like I said at the end of my last video, which was not even a week ago. I think you need to take accountability for this stuff. Like, yeah, ICE is going to have to say, well, you know, we took the life of your husband and of your father and of your son. And, you know, that's the way it is. You have to have some sort of accountability for it. Now, as for how it happened or why it happened, I don't know. I mean, there is this video here. Nothing graphic is shown in this video, but he's driving the car around in slow circles. I think, personally, that he was already dead by this point, and that he was just stuck in a loop, like in the car. He was just dead in the car, and it was driving around in circles, and they had to stop the car like that. That's my personal thought. I don't know what happened leading up to it. They say that he pulled away, that he tried to roadkill them. There's no way to prove that right now. And he was probably just trying to flee. That's always my presumption. It's the same with the last guy, same with Renee Good and the other two people as well. They were probably just trying to flee. But they shouldn't have been in the country to begin with. And that's really where the buck stops with me, is like, I'm not going to defend someone who shouldn't have even been in the country. I'm not going to defend legislation that allows people to come over to the country and just stay in there forever. But other people love to. They love to defend this ridiculousness. For instance, Susan Collins.
I believe that
Senator Susan Collins.
The DHS position of having a halt in these traffic stops until we know more answers is the right way to go.
So, answers to what exactly?
We've had 2 shootings in a week's time. in both Biddeford, Maine and Houston, in which serious questions have been raised. It can be that in certain emergency situations that these traffic stops are warranted, but to have them routinely done when we have two recent shootings that raise very serious questions.
Very serious questions, but she won't actually say what those questions are. Here's my question. Why is everyone allowed to come into our country? Why is it that all you have to do is apply for asylee status and you're allowed to stay forever and allowed to have a job and a wife and a child? Why are these people not deported until they're dead? And why is it that everyone's willing, more than willing, to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to fly their corpse back to another country? And why is it that other nations, the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, are trying to throw shade at us? This is completely in Spanish, which I don't speak, so I'm going to rely on a translation in the Guardian's article here. This is, according to The Guardian, what Gustavo Petro's tweet said. Quote, "What happened in Maine is the assassination of a Colombian, a Latin American, at the hands of the U.S. government. They killed him because they thought he was inferior and without rights, and as a person, he had all the rights that every human being is given just for being born, and he was a citizen with rights in the U.S. I await on the exterior Colombian service in the U.S. to take quick judicial and human action so that the assassins can pay for their homicide. I hope President Donald Trump, he can deliver a message to Colombia about what happened." Yeah, I do think Trump's going to deliver a message, probably to you specifically. Are you aware of a man named Maduro? Just out of curiosity. No? Well, you might want to research on him. So it's an assassination on him because they didn't like his skin color, because he was inferior and without rights. Well, what do you say about all of the countless other people in the USA who aren't white, who are not assassinated constantly, every single day? I mean, there's so many people, tens of millions, hundreds of millions maybe in the USA who are not white, and they're not assassinated constantly because they're the wrong skin color. You say that he has all the rights of every human being just for being born. Oh, well, I can do anything I want because I'm born. Well, laws don't apply to me because I'm born. He was a citizen with rights in the U.S. Well, he wasn't a citizen. He had a work permit because of a stupid loophole, which, I mean, I would define it as a loophole, in the asylee status thing. And by the way, having a work permit doesn't make you a citizen. So it's just a lie to say that he was a citizen, unless it's the DHS that's lying, one of the two. I'm willing to believe the DHS over Gustavo Petro, who seems to be trying to fuel some sort of war. By the way, if he didn't just say Colombian, he said a Latin American. He's trying to throw all of Latin America into this against the USA, and I don't think that's going to end any better if it was just Colombia, especially because we have allies in South America. He goes on to say, Johann Sebastian Duran, again, the name just changes constantly, rest in peace, victim of the government due to the persecution and exclusion against a population for ethnic and cultural reasons, which has been prohibited since the time of the Nuremberg trials around the world. Right. Colombia, what's your corruption perception index? 37 out of 100. Rank 99 of 182. In the bottom half. They're in the bottom half on the Corruption Perceptions Index, according to transparency.org. 37 is pretty bad. And the United States is 64. Not great, but as the beating heart of capitalism, you would expect there'd be a lot of corruption perception in the USA, right? And look at that, -1 since 2024. -1 since 2024, but Colombia has -2 since 2024. So for all the bluster about Donald Trump, Colombia has somehow become more corrupt, at least in regards to the perception index. And he's sitting here trying to start a fight with the USA? Colombia. Okay, yeah, Colombia, the place that's known for cocaine and literally nothing else, is trying to start a fight with the USA because one of their people came to the USA illegally, and now we have Gustavo Petro crying racism. Man, how familiar is that? And it's weird because I thought South America was supposed to be shifting towards the right ever since Trump took office. They have a lot of stuff showing that's happening. There's people becoming less democratic now that all the funding to the things that have made them democratic, like their free transgendered surgeries and their puppet shows and plays and crap that have been created by all the money we funneled them for democratic purposes. And now all that's dried up. They're starting to become more right wing again, which you would assume because it's a very Christian country, right? And yet here he is playing the racism card. And he's doing the same thing that Scheinbaum did in Mexico. Well, she wasn't really so much doing the racism card, I suppose, but she was saying that there was some criminal something or another, which is fair enough. It's just that I do think it's funny that in that particular case, the man had lived in the USA for 35 years illegally, and you're trying to claim him as one of your nationals and saying that we did something wrong. I mean, what a joke. Living in another country and you're going to blame that country for taking action against them. And maybe, just maybe, if our country did take action against the people who came into it, these people would be alive. Maybe, just maybe. If our country did try and stop the illegal immigrants, we wouldn't have so many illegal immigrants. And by the way, Duran Guerrero, as they've listed here, is the 11th person to be fatally shot by the federal immigration officials since Donald Trump took office for his second presidency in early 2025. So, 11 people, and we know that at least, I mean, I don't even know all 11 of these people, but I know at least 2 of them were American citizens, white people, right? Petty and Good. So there's over 10 million immigrants in the USA. And those are the illegal immigrants, specifically over 10 million illegal immigrants. I mean, that number must be going down, hopefully going down at a decent pace since ICE. So I don't know exactly what the number is supposed to be now, but originally I think it was estimated to be about 14, 15 million. And we've got 11 people who are dead in almost 2 years now. You know, I don't think that's so bad, especially considering that at least 2 of these people are only dead because the leftists inspired them to go out and fight against the government. And I'm willing to bet that some of these people trying to escape from ICE, they're probably doing it thinking that they have some sort of safe haven, some sort of sanctuary city that they can run away and hide in. Again, because of the leftists constantly telling them that America is evil and we have to destroy America, so they think that they have some sort of getaway plan. We have people from other countries coming to the USA and basically treating it like Grand Theft Auto. We've got enough people in the USA, born in the USA, to American parents who treat the country like it's Grand Theft Auto. I'm sick of seeing people trying to flee the cops as if their stars are going to reset or something. That's not the way it's going to work. And no, I'm not happy that they got shot. I'd rather them be in Colombia. You go back to Colombia with your wife and kid. That's what should have happened. They should have said, no, you're not allowed to stay here. You're being deported. Go back to Colombia with your wife and your daughter, and that's where you're going to live, in your home, where you're a national of. That's what should have happened. But instead, everyone's saying, oh, think about the poor wife. Oh, think about the poor daughter. Oh, no. Well, we just use empathy to allow anything. Open the borders because empathy. Someone's going to be sad if you don't allow everyone into America, so everyone's allowed into America. Again, I'm not happy the dude got shot. I feel bad for the wife. I feel bad for the daughter. I don't know if the wife is illegal or not, but the thing is, he put himself in that scenario. Our country put him in that scenario as well when they allowed him to stay in the country illegally. He entered illegally, and then he filed for asylee status. So it's not like he filed for asylee status first. At least that's as far as I understand it. Even then, even if he had, the asylee status is obviously an exploited loophole, a massively exploited loophole. Something needs to be done about it. And if you're going to complain about people dying, maybe you should start with the loophole people are exploiting to get into the country that's putting their life in danger to begin with. And not just their life, by the way, the lives of the citizens as well. It's also opening up our country to whatever possible danger from foreigners. I mean, spies or whatever, anything, drug smuggling, gun smuggling, whatever it might be. These people, they're either deliberately trying to destroy America or they are completely brain dead to the possibility of danger. And they think that everyone really is just one big happy family. They need to go play some sort of total war game, an RTS or something where they have to protect their borders. And then, maybe then, they'll have some sort of inkling of what needs to be done. Tighten the borders, keep people off of our lawn, or what is it people are saying now, INBI? No, INBI's non-binary. NIMBY, not in my backyard. Yeah, great acronym, by the way. I just guessed at the meaning of that when I first heard it. Great acronym. But that needs to happen. We need less people. We need stricter rules. We need stricter rules on our own people, not censorship exactly, but we need people to be punished for things so that they stop doing them instead of treating our country like it's just a smorgasbord to take from. Our own people treating it like a joke. And then maybe people will stop coming to our country to take from it. Well, I mean, if our own people are treating it like a joke, of course the foreigners are going to. If our own people are going to constantly use empathy to allow people to get anything they want, then of course the foreigners are going to take advantage of that. That's what they're doing. And that has led to this situation. All of these people allowing the immigrants to come in with no question. You're the ones creating the scenario. You people are the ones responsible for this guy's death. ICE might have pulled the trigger, but you've created the scenario where it's acceptable for us to have tons of agents going around, masked agents with bulletproof vests going around in groups, finding people, rounding them up and deporting them. That's necessary because of crap put in place by the liberals, by the people who think that everyone should just be allowed to do whatever they want to do and the government should screw off. No, that's not the way it works. We have a government, and you're going to have to deal with it. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, I could go on, but it's just going to be more of the same. So thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.